All right, guys, today's lesson is going to be about macromolecules. So, you have probably heard the expression, you are what you eat. Well, that is actually true. So, when you look at a label on nutrition facts, there are three main types of nutrients. We see total fat, total carbohydrates, and proteins. Those three things are what your body are made of, and nucleic acids. So those four things we're going to talk about today, those are known as macromolecules. Now, as a review, in this periodic table, these are the elements that make up all living organisms. Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus, and sulfur. If you rearrange these in an acronym of CHONPS, you can say CHONPS, which helps you remember which elements make up living organisms. So organic compounds are compounds that contain carbon. We are carbon-based life forms. You may have heard that before, and that is what makes up organic compounds. Macromolecules, macro means big, so they are large organic molecules. Sometimes people call macromolecules biomolecules. You'll hear both of those used interchangeably. So these are also called polymers. Poly means many. So they're made of many building blocks. These building blocks are called monomers. Mono means one, so it's one building block, and poly means many, so it's many monomers. Examples: carbohydrates, lipids are also known as fats, proteins, and nucleic acids, DNA and RNA. So you can think of a monomer as a Lego brick, it's just one, and a polymer is many of them brought together, and that is big. So we're going to learn all of the names of the monomers of all of the macromolecules. The first is lipids, also known as fats. Made up of CH and O, carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. So we say CHO. This will help us remember lipids are made up of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen, CHO. They are not soluble in water, and its function is stored energy. So when we have fat in our body, that is energy that is stored for when times of hunger or starvation, or when it's cold, we will use that fat as energy. They are also parts of the cell membrane, and they're used for insulation. Examples are fats, phospholipids, which we're going to learn about soon, oils, waxes, and steroid hormones. So, the monomer of lipids is called triglyceride. It is made of one glycerol and three fatty acids. Now, the difference between saturated and unsaturated fatty acids. Saturated fatty acids are hard at room temperature, like butter. Unsaturated fatty acids are liquids at room temperature, like oil. Our next macromolecule is carbohydrates. These are also made up of the element CHO. Monomer is called a monosaccharide. Mono means one sugar. And there's an example, glucose, just one glucose. Carbohydrates function as a quick source of energy. In plants, it forms support like cell walls. Examples of sugar, grains, glucose, cellulose, and starch. You may have a younger brother and sister, when they eat too much candy, they have a lot of energy. Well, that's because carbohydrates, sugars, give a quick form of energy. Polysaccharide, poly means many, that's many sugar units together. So example of polysaccharides are starches, like breads and potatoes, glycogen, cellulose, and that's a picture of a polysaccharide. Proteins.